Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast. I'm, of course, Nick McDaniel, and as always, I am joined by my man Myron.
Welcome, folks, to another great episode of the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast, here to solve all of your wrestling journalism needs. Yes.
And, well, we're not journalists, Myron.
Oh, so looking for that Carmella sex tape was not journalism?
No.
Oh.
We are answering questions this week, man.
We're experts.
No. We are just giving our opinions on questions that people have sent in. Look, whether you're members or you're listeners, just send those questions to tappedoutpod@gmail.com. We'll answer them. We hadn't done a mailbag in a while, and I felt guilty, so I was like, Myron, we got to pull out the old bag and unzip the mailbag and get it going. But always remember, guys, too, if you're a paid member over there on our YouTube channel, your questions always go to the front of the line, youtube.com/C/Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast. Or just go to YouTube and do the Tapped Out Podcast Network. You'll find us there. Make sure you're, liking it, subscribing, turning on your notifications. And like I said, if you want the content early, all that good stuff, become a member, sign up today right there on YouTube, man. And, it's a great place to get, because now it's not just about wrestling over there anymore. We've got football. We've got movies. We've got, there was a great review of Andor, the first 3 episodes that Arthur M.B. Mooney did for us. Put that up there. Yeah, dude. And I'm excited about that kind of stuff going forward. And it's lots of extra stuff that you can get. So I'm really, really excited about it. And hopefully you are too. And all that stuff is just on the YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. The audio feed will just continue. And I repeat this because I want to make it clear. The audio feed will just be the wrestling podcast. Nothing's going to change. But if you sign up over at YouTube, you'll get all of the football, the sports betting. I did some prize picks last week. I got to go back and go through that and go how I did on those.
Oh, I'd love to see your brain backers on that.
It wasn't good this week. It never helps your fantasy league when you wake up first thing in the morning and realize that one of your starting running backs was playing in London and they decided to sit him last minute, and you woke up after the game had started. So therefore, they played in London this week. The Saints did versus the Vikings, and Kamara was on my starting lineup, and of course he did not play, and so that did not go well for me. So I took an L this week when one of your running backs is not playing, but it can get brutal, man. Brutally.
As you see that the thing scrolling up there across the street about pro wrestling tees, funny story. I go in my closet, which is mainly wrestling t-shirts. Some of the greatest, coolest wrestling t-shirts of all time are in there. I was going to put on my new Pac-Man one that I got just in the mail yesterday, but I saw the Matt Hankins Toot and Tug Boogie shirt, and I had to put that on because I have been enjoying everything he's been doing at Anarchy so much lately. I know not everybody that listens is in Georgia, but man, if you want to see some old school awesome wrestling, Matt Hankins is booking a firestorm up there, folks.
And you could check them out on YouTube.
I got the t-shirt. Yes.
They have a YouTube channel. So absolutely. And I know you probably can't see mine because of the way I sit, but I am honoring. I'm wearing my Hold My Beer Hansen in honor of the old Hansen got hitched this week. So this past week. Yeah. Congrats to those kids. We love them to death, and couldn't be prouder. Happy for those guys. And so anyway, that's why I'm sporting the Hansen shirt today. So I wanted to do that. But man, look, without further ado, Myron, man, let's get diving into the
questions.
Let's dive straight in. That's right, man. First one up.
Kyle from Madison, New Jersey asks, "Are you guys excited about Extreme Rules?" Well, hell yeah, Kyle, I am. Did you watch Smackdown? Did you watch Smackdown Friday, Kyle? Because that was an awesome show. That show was one of the better shows I've seen in a long time. Yeah. I loved it.
And we always remember, guys, we have to reiterate on a weekly basis. We're recording on a Monday. We record either Sunday or Monday, depending on Myron's schedule. So we're always recording prior to Raw, and then we release the show Tuesday morning. So people sometimes lose the big gap of the rollover for Raw. So that's not why we're going, did you see what happened on Raw last night? No, we did not yet. Not yet.
It was awesome. I'm gonna tell you, they've got it to the point now where I like Sheamus. and I like Sami Zayn, and I like Kevin Owens, and I've never liked those guys, but they're doing such a dynamic job right now that
Yeah.
it's cool. Um, the match I'm excited about most though is the SmackDown Women's Championship. How about that, Nick?
Listen, it's going to be pretty brutal. I agree. I think, is it time to take the title off of Liv and put it back on Ronda?
This would be Liv's final coming out party if she wins. Liv would be established as a main roster star. People wouldn't still kind of doubt her if she wins this match. This was the real deal. This is Ronda Rousey in Extreme Rules match.
Now, I think that's the way you can have her win, is because of the gimmick style match. And if it was a straight up match, I would say Ronda has to go over. But since there's gimmicks, something crazy, wacky can happen that causes her to win. So I'm not as concerned, but in general, on principle and I hate to say this because it's never popular, on draw and on mass popularity, I look, Ronda they put it on her. I mean, they gave her a little bit of a run there.
Yeah.
It's probably time to go back to Ronda because you're going to start gearing up for the next, phase of who's next on SmackDown. I think that's just my take.
Mm-hmm. How long has it been since we've seen Charlotte?
I don't think we see Charlotte again until coming into the Mania, like Rumble Mania time. I don't think she's back before that. I could be wrong, but that's just my take on it. I don't think we see her until then.
The one I'm worried about though is, I'm sorry to go to sideline. I got more reports. Randy Orton was seriously injured and might require surgery. I knew he'd been out.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize it might have been bad.
Yeah. I mean, look, if Randy needs to take a year off, so, look, let him rest up and come back. That's fine. They seem to be doing okay. Because here's the thing. Him not being there has created at least a little bit of an opening for somebody else.
Yeah.
And if Randy was gone an entire 16 months, he'd be fine when he came back. He's still Randy Orton.
Yeah, good point. Good point. What are you excited about seeing?
Lots of things. Like, look, I think if you want my opinion, I think Bayley captures the Raw title there.
Yes.
That's just, now you could make the argument you can't have both women's titles change hands on Extreme Rules, which is kind of, I don't want to call it a secondary pay-per-view, but it's a secondary pay-per-view.
Well, you got your big four, and then you've got everything else.
That's why I can see Liv holding on to it and Bayley taking her, the Raw title. That's just my take.
You're not being unreasonable with that. I think that's a pretty fair assessment.
The
strap match.
I think Cross has to go over. I just think it has to be.
I wonder what kind of strap match though.
Well, they're just going to have where they're strapped together, their wrists are strapped together, so they can't run away and they can't get away. Like that's the whole kind. Are you talking about they have to touch the four corners? And
yes,
I doubt it. I don't see WWE doing that.
I have never seen that at WWE. I don't think.
Well, I mean, think about it. Their cage matches, the escape was not a normal thing everywhere. Yeah. So I just think I just think it's so they can't run. I am completely listen. It's like you said about Sheamus, man. The match with the Brawling Brutes and Imperium against each other. If you thought Gunther and Sheamus was a brutal fight, it's going to be even taken to the next level because all six of these dudes can lay. So that'll be good. I think Edge versus Finn. Because here's my take on this. This is a weird take. I think Finn. I don't. Okay, first of all, I don't like him in Judgment Day, which is weird for me to say what I'm about to say. I think he's better than that, and I think Triple H sees him as better than that. I think I think Finn they may keep him there, but I think he was a Triple H guy.
He was in NXT. He was a
think
big deal in NXT.
Have you noticed he started picking up wins?
Mm-hmm.
I think there's more coming for Finn. I think he beats. The problem is I can't see Edge quitting. Because it's an I quit match.
I always worry when an injured guy gets in an I quit match. I mean, I know Edge is cleared, but geez, his neck's all jacked.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe
I don't
we
know.
see the demon. Maybe we see the demon at the big one.
I think we potentially do get, and we're going to discuss the White Rabbit stuff here in a minute. But I wonder if, because everybody saw that little Easter egg right in that picture, and everybody just assumed it was the Seth Rollins Matt Riddle match. What if that was completely to throw you off, and it happens in one of these other matches, whether it's Cross and McIntyre, or if it's Finn and Edge? I don't want, if Bray Wyatt returns, I don't know that I want him tangled up with Judgment Day either. Like, I don't want him to be the new leader of Judgment Day. Like him, Cross, I mean, it's a hell of a group, don't get me wrong. Damian Priest, Karrion Kross, Bray Wyatt, and Rhea Ripley, and maybe they dump out Finn Balor if he quits. If he quits to Edge, do they throw him out? And that's the new piece to the puzzle.
I don't know. This pay-per-view is going to be a handful, and that fight pit match with Seth Rollins and Riddle, yeah.
And Daniel Cormier now is going to referee it, the MMA fighter.
Be a dynamite match.
Yeah. So the take of it all is, are we excited? Yes. Do we know what the hell's going to happen? Apparently not, and that's a great thing going into a pay-per-view, going like, I'm not 100% sure what's going to happen. That's a really, really good thing. So,
well, they're getting to the point now where Myron's going to migrate back from watching the recorded pay-per-view later, where he can fast forward the stuff, to the fact that Myron's going to be wanting to watch this live when it happens, because it's going to be so entertaining.
Yeah.
So
I don't know, but
yes, keeping on going on White Rabbits.
That was like a 10-minute. Yes, we're excited.
Yes.
but I digress. Go ahead, man.
Yes. Luca from Seminole, Oklahoma wants to know, do you think the White Rabbit story has to involve the Bloodline? Ooh. The White Rabbit and the Bloodline.
It has to. I know it might be like jumping the gate or jumping the gun and getting to the finish line super quick. But here's my thing. If this thing has become like kind of taking a life on its own and becoming such a big part of like what everybody's excited for and looking forward to. I mean, think about it. If it peters into like a mid-card angle. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, everybody's going to be like, wah, wah, wah.
The Madcap Moss guy gets it or something.
No, I mean, even if it's, like, my take is, even if it's Bray, let's say it's Bray Wyatt and Karrion Kross.
Uh-huh.
And they're going to feud with, I mean, no offense, but I mean, because you know what I think, but if they're feuding with McIntyre and, I don't know, Ricochet or something, I don't know, two guys, I mean, are people disappointed that it's not like something at the top?
I think by now people are going to be disappointed if it's not something at the top, because they put so much into it.
Right.
It's all this anticipation, and people are working on this stuff like they were like archaeologists, and they're breaking this stuff down and crypto stuff, and they're trying to read things into stuff, and they need a Rosetta Stone to even figure out what the hell's going on with the storyline. I'm excited about it. I don't know what it means though.
Well, I think that's the ultimate problem. Yeah. I think ultimately that it's, because we all assume it's Bray, but when then there's the assumption that Cross is involved. So are we leading to a faction versus a faction type of thing?
What if it's Sami Zayn?
See, I as crazy as this sounds, that's actually where I actually kind of came back to. That if it's not Bray, what if it is Sami? Because remember, he was doing the whole conspiracy theory or conspiracy angle guy or whatever. So maybe he's the one doing all this. Maybe it's him and Kevin Owens messing with him. Got to tear him down from the inside.
Backstage on Smackdown.
Maybe if it's something that's all like they're tearing the bloodline down from the inside, maybe that's their whole thing.
Sounds like those guys that did the podcast were like, is it a work? Is it a shoot?
Yeah.
Is it Sami Zayn? Is it Bray Wyatt? I don't know. Yeah. I'm excited about it. This is 2 times we've had 2 WWE topics that I am excited about and enjoying. I don't know if that's happened in a long time.
I agree with you, man. I 100% agree with you.
Hmm.
But before you get to the next question, there's something else we're excited about.
Oh, yes.
And that's our friends at slowpoke.com. Hey guys, Nick here at the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast, and I'm here to remind you about our friends over at slowpoketoys.com. We told you about them a while back when they made their huge debut up there in Nashville at StarCast, and we told you then it was just the beginning. Boy, we weren't kidding. Since then, they've gone on to add some new items, and you missed them. Did you miss them? Well, why? All you got to do is make sure you're giving them a follow over on all their social media platforms, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter or more, at Slowpoke Toys. Or, man, just go straight to the source. Go right to the website, slowpoketoys.com, and don't miss out on all the cool indie wrestling collectibles, pins, stickers, magnets, and more. They've even got some more cool stuff coming for Christmas. That's why you want to make sure you're giving them a follow on all their social media platforms. Again, at Slowpoke Toys on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. How involved are they? Man, they've already been working with promotions like AEW Wrestling, Pro Wrestling Revolver, ACW Wisconsin, Black Pro Wrestling, and more. That's right, man. They're making a big dive into the indie wrestling market. And if you're an indie wrestling fan, or you got that special somebody who's an indie wrestling fan, make sure you're giving them a follow at Slowpoke Toys on all social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And again, check them out right on that website at slowpoketoys.com. That's right, man. Check out our friends over at slowpoketoys.com and at Slowpoke Toys on all their social media and give them a follow because, man, they got some cool stuff. I've seen some posts. They've been going around to the indie shows, man, and they've been setting up tables and selling that merch. Get some cool stickers, pins, magnets, all that cool stuff, man.
I tell you, folks, jump on it. Get it before everybody else gets it. If you wanted this for your wrestling fans in your life, if you want a stocking stuffers, if you want presents, if you want treats for your wrestling friends, get this. Everybody will love it.
Yeah, we got some stuff from them, and I think what I'm going to do is start sending in your questions to tappedoutpod@gmail.com, and what we do is when we do some of these question shows, maybe we'll mail out some of those as prizes for some of the best questions we get, so
yes,
that'll be fun to do as well, man.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, that'd be cool to do. Yeah, slowpoketoys.com, man. Check out them out and get some of, like I said, that cool indie merch. So, well, man, let's keep it rolling, Myron, and let's dive right into the next one.
Caleb, with a K, from Lake City, is that Michigan?
That's Michigan.
Okay. Did Austin Theory suddenly get told he will get his match versus Cena? And do you think it should happen? Oh, are we basing something on Michael Cole, the unproduced Michael Cole, the Michael Cole without Vince in his ear?
Listen, if they'll do shit with QR codes, they'll do something with a subtle, comment by Michael Cole. Because here's the thing. I mean, I think, since Triple H has taken over, people have been like, oh, they're burying, Theory. He's taking losses, and he's getting beat, and he's had moments where it's not been good. I argued with somebody. I was like, well, maybe, they're just – some people were like, oh, he's having to pay his dues because he didn't have to pay them because he was Vince's chosen one. My thought was, or – Triple H is pulling the reins back because he saw the potential of the backlash of Theory getting shoved down our throat. Yeah. So he's like, let's beat him a little bit and, put it in whatever, and then we can kind of slowly hit the gas back on.
Well, they haven't made him a serious bad guy, for lack of a way to put it. He's kind of comical ass, He's like, he doesn't win this, or he comes out to cash in and somebody stops him. Biding his time, building up the I think that's got to be right, Nick. I think that's got to be right.
Yeah, I mean, it could be that simple that they're just like I said. I mean, Triple H could maybe learn from the mistakes that a lot of people say that Vince made, and that's shoving this guy down your throat, shoving that guy down your throat, and then because my thing is look, you could beat. The problem is you got to be careful about beating him and beating him and beating him. I think if you're setting it up for a Mania match with a Cena or something like that, you kind of have to start at in the next month or so, maybe 2 months, you're going to have to slowly start pushing the gas and getting Theory some wins against some good people. So when you get to Cena, you actually think listen, I mean, most people are going to be like, he doesn't have a chance anyway. It's Cena. But you got to at least make him like, okay, he's a credible threat at that point.
Yeah, he's got to do something good with that briefcase. He may not have to win a championship with it, but he needs to show out when he does it.
Yeah.
He needs to do a big match against somebody big and either win or do so well people respect him.
I'm not saying I like this or dislike this. It's literally just popped into my head. Somewhere between now and Mania, Theory cashes in and grabs one of the 2 titles. John Cena challenges Austin Theory so he can break the record, become the 17-time champion. So everybody just naturally assumes that John Cena is going to beat Austin Theory
and you
at
have
WrestleMania.
To tune in for it.
Because you're going to watch it. And then guess what? If Austin Theory beat John Cena at WrestleMania, how cool would that be for Austin Theory's career? Because then again, you could just have John Cena beat him and become the 17-time. I just think that if John Cena is going to become a 17-time champion, I don't know that Theory's the guy. Like, it's got to be, to me, it'd have to be somebody
it would have to be
higher.
somebody on like the Roman Reigns levels, in my opinion. Somebody up there.
Randy Orton, Orton. I mean, yeah, somebody of a name. Drew McIntyre even. I'm not saying him, but you know what I mean. Somebody to that level. That Bobby Lashley, somebody like that.
Seth.
I
don't think Bobby and the person who wins, who John Cena beats for 17, is going to have to be a name that's known everywhere.
The crazy thing is, I don't think he wins it. That's the beauty. I think the whole gimmick is everybody just assumes he's going to win, and they don't. Then he doesn't, because he's a part-time in the sense of like, if he came in, it would be for like two or three maybe 4 TVs and the pay-per-view. Mm-hmm. He's not sticking around forever. So that's my point of like, if you put one of those on Theory, Cena comes back, Theory starts running his mouth, talking about how he's this, he's that, he's the greatest of all time, blah, blah, blah. Cena comes back, shows up, or maybe Theory, pops off and says something about Cena. And he comes back and they have and you just assume at that point, everybody would assume that Cena would be beating him to become the 17-time champion at WrestleMania. And then he doesn't.
Of course.
Somehow, some way, Theory wins. That would do wonders for his career. So,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, anyway, it's a thought. But, yeah, I think that, we thought we were getting that a while back. We thought that we were going to get it, and we didn't get it. So, I was a little disappointed when we didn't get it last time. So, but, anyway.
Okay. Now, this is going to be a difficult topic.
Yeah.
This next one, I think this is probably one of the better structured things you've put together to answer this one. But Cash from Wesley Chapel, North Carolina, has asked us, what do you think of the low ticket sales that AEW is currently experiencing? Now, these are pre-sales.
Well, I mean, it's the ticket sales. I mean, it's sales that, and now listen, these numbers, they were a few days ago. So, I mean, if you go in there and go like, oh, it's not, it's 100 to 150 more. Okay, like, slow down. I get it. In general, let's say it was a few days ago. Mm-hmm. First, I want to talk about like, the TV itself. The last week's episode fell below 1 million, barely, and I really want to stress that because, listen, when it happens with WWE, I say the same thing. I'm consistent as they possibly come. 990,000 is it's 1 million. Like, it's a rounding error. When we talk about when it's a high or a low or 10,000, that's a rounding error.
Just variance.
Yeah. So let's like it was what it was. Now, I will say, Jim Ross brought up a valid point about. I know we're talking about ticket sales. I'll get there in a second, I promise. But when the Arthur Ashe Grand Slam show really didn't do much better than the regular shows, even JR was kind of surprised that it was. Let's be honest, man. I say because I actually really enjoyed the show. It was a pay-per-view on TV.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And they're doing that. They're giving that away a lot. You notice that, Nick?
It happens. It does happen. Which, listen, so the viewership it got, I wanted to joke. It's because so many damn people were in the building. That's why the viewership was down a little bit. But I think that it's because they thought they had all this momentum with all of the, as the first $1 million gate for a televised show, like all this momentum's going on. Well, now there's like the October 5th show in DC had like 2,265 tickets sold when I checked. And we're back a few days. Last year, the same building.
Or this week, sorry.
Yeah, that's this week's show. Last year's show in that building drew 14,000. Then the Rampage show, by the way, on the 7th was just short of 2,000 tickets sold. Listen, it's concerning, but let me finish. The October 12th show had about 6,800 tickets at the time when I pulled the numbers. I don't think that's bad. I know a lot of people are doom and gloom. I didn't think it was that bad. Now, the next day, they were probably about 2,000 seats less for the Rampage show. But it is what it is, which is why, I get the taping it the same day, like right after, sometimes made sense. The one this show that I want to bring, the 18th, at the time when I pulled these numbers, we're talking the Dynamite where Moxley's going to wrestle Hangman. He hadn't broke 4,000 tickets when I looked. It was they hadn't broke 3,800 for that matter. That's a world title shot versus your former champion and your current champion. That one's a little bit surprising. That one, and I'm not doom and gloom. It's surprising. Then there's some numbers, and I got the list in front of me, so I want to make sure I'm pretty accurate here. The 21st Rampage had sold 2,250. The 26th in Norfolk 2,217. The Connecticut show at the Mohegan Sun was at 3,800. We'll call it. Now, the November 2nd show in Baltimore was at 1,500 tickets, essentially. Now, that's Baltimore. That's a great wrestling market. Atlantic City on November 4th. Now, here's the thing I want to tell you why I think they're going to be okay now. I don't know. November 4th, that show at Atlantic City was at 776 tickets sold. They did 5,500 and 5,900 in that building in February. Not last year, February. So basically 7 months ago? No, 8 months ago. That's a pretty hard hit. I think even though the Arthur, overall they're going to be fine, right? They just have to be.
I worry about the way Tony Khan manages, and this is not a personal shot at anybody. And the guy from FTR who was wrestling in Europe drew a really big point on this topic. Tony Khan has been shoveling coal into the engine of his locomotive as hard as he can go. It's been debut, promo, shocker, all the time. And now he's got those two guys over there wrestling in Europe. And they're like, we still work for you. Could you book us, please?
Right.
And I don't know how I feel about that. I'm still trying to really get how I feel about that happening and wrestlers doing that. But it's to me, it's the way it is. He's got so many people on payroll, he can't use them all. And he's always trying to get a big pop. And he's always, I would hope that they stay the course. They can continue to work on improving the product. You don't have to hire everybody that WWE releases, okay? You don't have to hire everybody out there on the market. You need to work on your product. Okay, are you still working with Nightmare Factory at all? I don't know how that's going to work at AEW, but you really should be having your guys train and work to put on a better TV product. It's sometimes hard to watch, okay? There's been nights where I've turned AEW on, and the 45 minutes in, I'm like, God, I can't even finish this.
I enjoy the product. But here's the thing, Myron. I addressed this last week when we talk about Soraya's debut. It's just like the constant shots about Saudi Arabia, we beat this and we beat. Okay, I would really like for Tony Khan, because I think if that team focuses on their product, handles their business in-house, I think just focus on being the alternative. Don't try to be like WWE. Don't try to be a competitor. Don't try to we're going to, quit focusing over here and focus right here on your own home product. I think the team there's good enough that they will not only be fine, I think they will do well.
Okay, so what you're saying, if I can interpret it in my own terms, WWE is Coca-Cola. They don't care about Pepsi. AEW should stop trying to be Pepsi and be like LaCroix, or be something completely different, and improve that.
I wouldn't put them that low. I wouldn't put them that low. Okay. I think they're better than that. But what I meant is, if I'll give you the best example, and we both could probably relate to this.
Okay.
Burger King just recently openly acknowledged the fact that they screwed the pooch during the pandemic. They completely started messing with their menu and stuff. My thing is, why did you need a Big King? It's a Big Mac. You were trying to out McDonald's.
Yes.
They have since said they're going to refocus their menu, and they're going to do what they do best, and they're going to be Burger King. That's essentially what I'm saying for AEW quit bringing in every person that's let go from WWE and then putting them on your show. Then the next thing you know, you have a Chicken King sandwich that I don't even know what that is. And you know what I mean? And then it's forgotten. It's on the back burner. When guess what? Mick was completely happy and loved your original chicken sandwich. Focus on what you do well and do that. And you look, if I told you were going to be the number 2 wrestling promotion in the world, you should. Sorry, back up, because to be 2 and be such a far gap, you know what I mean? But still, I think there's a lot to be said for that. Do you and do you well, and I think that company will be fine. There's lots of smart and talented people there.
Yes, listen to them. Put these people the people that you can trust in positions of authority. Rely on guys like QT Marshall more. Rely on people that know the wrestling business and succeed at what you're good at. Does Burger King make you feel really full, uncomfortably full? Do they put I love Burger King. Don't get me wrong.
That means you have to eat one less sandwich.
I just eat the big sandwich. I only eat one sandwich. It's just the biggest sandwich.
I only do that when I eat 2 sandwiches. It's because I would always go, give me the burger, give me the a Big King, and give me the original chicken sandwich. I don't do fries and all that. But if I ever do that, that's when I'm But anyway, I haven't done that. Obviously,
I'm preferring Wendy's over Burger King lately, though. Okay. And all they have on their menu is you want 1 piece of meat, 2 pieces of meat,
right?
3 pieces
Exactly.
Of meat.
We'll give you a burger.
And how much bacon?
Yeah, how much bacon do you want? Exactly. I agree. Anyways, let's keep it rolling, man, and get off the food topic and head right on.
We're both losing weight, so it's kind of you start talking Burger King, even an example, and I'm gonna start getting hungry.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, so Ricky from Vallejo, California. Did you guys hear what Eric Bischoff recently said about there is no upside to AEW acquiring Ring of Honor? Well, this is also another topic in that same vein of the last topic, which I think this is going to be a management win or loss. That's how this is going to happen. If Ring of Honor succeeds, it's going to because they put the right people in charge of it. If it fails, it's because they didn't. Because according to Eric, it has no inherent value.
Correct. And I'm going to read some quotes because I wanted to. I'm going to assume because Ricky didn't specifically say this. I'm just assumed he was talking about the Strictly Business podcast that he does on the Conrad ad-free show stuff. I want to make sure it's so. He basically believed that Khan's decision to purchase the promotion was a bad business move because he basically said that he described it as a niche brand that prior to AEW owning it, that they didn't have hardly any promotion that's going to appeal to the mainstream. And listen, we've said that for years. That because when we always talk about pure wrestling, that was always what I went to and said, if you want pure wrestling, that's Ring of Honor. And if you think pure wrestling works, well, there's a reason why Ring of Honor is where it is. And that was even years ago prior to.
Yes.
Listen, look, my heart goes out to the fact that the pandemic essentially devastated and put Ring of Honor out of business.
Yeah, but I think MMA probably hurt them worse than the pandemic to start.
I don't know, man. I felt like they just couldn't make any new product. They lost so much money, and they were hemorrhaging money paying all those people for so long to keep them.
Yeah.
If they still had it, like they were continuing to be able to tape and put new product and new content on TV, I think they could have justified it. They just couldn't anymore. They couldn't justify paying those people anymore when they couldn't film because
they didn't have a place to hole up and hide like WWE had in Florida. Wait till it blow over,
or AEW, or
Norcross up here where AEW hid until the pandemic could get where they could start traveling again. So I hope for the best for Ring of Honor, but that whole real combat wrestling has never really been what I liked. I've always been a sports entertainment fan.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm going to finish this quote here. It says, "How many YouTube viewers did Ring of Honor get before they were purchased?" I mean, you're talking probably about tens of thousands of viewers, maybe, right? I mean, it was insignificant, off the radar, unknown brand, with the exception of the most active of the internet wrestling community who sought it out, which is 100% true. That only people who you didn't hardly stumble across Ring of Honor, like you had to go search for it and find it.
Yes.
Basically, I'm going to summarize this part where basically he said how Tony Khan purchased the video library and brand assets, which he basically said they were worth nothing because most of it was so poorly produced that like a mainstream, like a high-end streaming service isn't going to want it. Like nobody of any, like HBO Max or probably doesn't want it because it's shot so bad. They're not going to want it on their thing. So basically he was saying there's no real value to the company. The form and everything was developmental brand. Now he did say yes, because this is something we've discussed. Could it be used as a developmental brand? Could it be? I've said forever. How many times have we said they should just basically get rid of Dark and rebrand it the Ring of Honor? And that's kind of your NXT would be Ring of Honor, which I know a lot of people would take that as an insult, but I don't think it would be. And then you could work your way up to the AEW brand from Ring of Honor. And that's your YouTube product. So
yes, you cut your teeth down there. You learn how to work on TV. Because I don't know anything about wrestling, but from what I assume and what I've seen on people come up, working on TV is just as important to learn as it is to learn how to wrestle in the first place, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, learn how to work a camera, learn how to work the fans, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
And I think some people have that like naturally, and some people will have to be trained how to do it.
Right.
But they've got to develop more. Just bringing up indie talent and putting them on the roster, it's not that direct pipeline. I think Ring of Honor did a very good job with building stars. They built Punk, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, everybody, Seth Rollins, all came up through there, didn't they? So let's use that niche that they have, that the audience that would love to see it come back, to love to see new talent. And you're making your Dark show anyway. Just rebrand it. It wouldn't be hard. I think, and you could use, if you're still affiliated with the Nightmare Factory, which I'm assuming you are, at that brand new facility they have now, you could fly them into Atlanta, have them train there. The best nutritionists, the best trainers, a phenomenal gym. Work with QT Marshall, who knows exactly what he's doing on producing a product. Also a Ring of Honor product, the guy from Ring of Honor. So Damian Priest. The model worked, is what I'm trying to say. Even if it wasn't technically a developmental program, it was a developmental program, and it helped these guys get to the point they're on TV in front of the whole world right now. So I can't see why this isn't a great opportunity, and this is how I would do it. But then again, this is where I worry about Tony Khan in the management part. Does he have his Triple H? Is QT Marshall his Triple H? he's going to need people like that he can depend on to make this work.
Listen, Vince fell into the trap, and I think this is a dangerous line to walk in when you. I understand companies where guys are like, look, I'm the living example of this. I want to control everything, so it's done the way I want it. So I get it. So when I say to Tony Khan, it's hard to let other people make those, like, because you want to do everything. Vince McMahon fell into that trap, and that became a dangerous, situation as far as he lost touch, right?
The bad part about that is I've been a retail manager for 25 years now. If you do not delegate tasks, you yourself get overwhelmed and your production suffers. Also, if you do not delegate tasks, none of your younger talent or none of your employees or none of the people that you depend on for support develop.
Yeah.
So the whole program suffers. You have to learn how to delegate, and that's my weak point as a manager, and that's why I don't ever want to manage the whole thing. I want to be an assistant manager. It's just too much strain for people who are control freaks.
Yeah. So I agree, but man, look, that's a lot of the national level. We've got some stuff on the local level this week.
Yeah, baby.
Big things coming up. And before we talk about it, I want to show you.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
Absolutely. We want to show you a little bit of what you can expect this Friday in Canton.
Attention wrestling fans, join us Friday, October 7th for our huge anniversary show, SHW Still Here 4. Coming to you live from the Action Building in Canton, Georgia. The Show Yang of Wrestling makes her SHW singles debut as she faces the returning Heather Monroe. Former partners Chip Day and Kyle Matthews determine who the best technical wrestler in the state truly is when they face off in a 2 out of 3 falls match. 12 men will compete in the first ever DDP Diamond Cup Invitational. Plus, Cyrus the Destroyer makes his long-awaited return to challenge the Priest of Punishment, Judas, in a last man standing match. And in our main event, 2 rings, 2 cages, Team Contra steps inside the War Chamber to battle Team SHW. We'll also have special appearances by wrestling legend Buff Bagwell and WWE Hall of Famer Teddy Long. Tickets go on sale at the door the night of the show starting at 5 p.m. Doors open at 7, bell time at 8. Don't miss our biggest show of the year. Witness Southern Honor Wrestling live, an experience like no other.
That's right, man. This Friday, right up the road in Canton, Georgia, Southern Honor Wrestling. Still
so
here
excited
for.
I'm off work. I can't wait. 4 years, the people that nobody said would ever last, the people that everybody has just tried to pull down with every chance are there, and they're still here. The card is insane. The card is insane, and the guests are going to be crazy. Teddy Long, one-on-one with the Undertaker. Everybody's going to be in a cage. The War Chamber is coming. Buff Bagwell and the DDP Invitational. Woo!
Yeah, man. Like I said, like you said, Southern Honor. They said they would, they wouldn't last. They said they, couldn't draw. They said, first of all, I always say, who are they? And who are they that are saying it? That's what I always jokingly say. Who are they? That's a joke. Sorry. That's something we always do at our house when they go, well, that's what they say. And, if my wife will say the same and we look at each other and I go, well, who are they? I mean, who are they that are saying that? But anyway.
Wrestling journalists.
Something to that effect. But listen, the card will be outstanding. War Chamber, Team Southern Honor, Gunnar Miller, Murder One, Tank, Owen Knight, and the returning savior, David Ali. Warms my heart to know the kid's coming home to face off versus Contra, Sunny Day, Sauronaro, Joe Black, Carly Bravo, and Cruel. Essentially, this is it. This has got to draw the line. It has to stop Contra running rampant in Southern Honor, right?
Dude, this is going to be brutal. Because I know how Tank does these matches. He's scary. Murder in a cage match. David Ali. Oh, But look at the competition.
Yeah, it's
I have no
cruel deathmatch guy all over the country, all over the world, dude. He's going to Australia. I mean, like, you know, hurting on everybody everywhere. Joe Black, I mean, look, absolute beast. Think about like the wars that him and Huck went through. Like, so know he'll do anything. You know, he's willing to put a beating on anybody. Sonny and Sal, they're just, you know, they're out there. So they're crazy.
Incredibly talented, though.
Yeah.
Just evil geniuses.
And listen, over the last, I would say it's been over a year, because I'd like to say it was the last few months, but no. Carly Bravo. I have been telling people behind the scenes that Carly Bravo is a guy that look, as young as he is in the business, he's one of the most charismatic individuals, one of the most gifted, you know, people that we have here in Georgia, that I would not be stunned if somebody says, oh, he is signed with insert promotion, like name there. I wouldn't be surprised in the least.
Yes.
And all that being said, that's the talent that they're going to lock up into these two cages, into these two rings. It's going to be absolute war, no pun intended.
And fresh back home from the land of the rising sun, Cyrus the Destroyer.
Yeah. I joked with somebody and said, you know, we're going to have a War Chamber match if the ring holds up for Cyrus and Judas, because it's going to be a last man standing. And I was like, is the ring going to still be standing when those two guys?
I might put that on last, just to be careful.
You got to put that cage up, man, so you know it's going to be last.
YJ, my heart goes out to you.
Yeah, no kidding.
Put that stuff together as tight as you can go, man.
It's gonna be cool to see Cyrus home, but those two, I promise you, him and Judas are going to this is going to be a developing theme all night. They're just gonna beat the hell out of each other.
Well, look at Kyle and Chip, two of the best technical wrestlers ever put on boots in Georgia, are going 1-on-1 out of 2 out of 3 falls match. You don't just, that match doesn't end quickly. That match is going to take time. There's going to be a lot of submission and a lot of pain in that match.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And like you said, man, for the last decade, it's, you know, been basically the best technical wrestlers in Georgia. You know, those two guys have always been right there, if not the guy. And I look, this has been a long time coming, but that one will, if you know, from the traditional sense of the word, I'd love to say it's going to be, you know, it's going to be a 5-star classic, and these two are going to they're going to steal the show. But they're still going to beat the hell out of each other, because that's so personal with those two.
Yes. So
I can't, like, I know there's some of the best technical wrestlers in the state, Southeast country, you know, but I don't know that we're going to get that, because those two are just going to go at each other. So, so it's just, again, I keep saying it's a developing theme. Those two are just going to pound each other. Jazzy Yang, the Show Yang of wrestling, she's going to be debuting there. Her new, you know, this new personality of hers. She's going to wrestle Heather Monroe. So that's going to be exciting, because it's going to be something new. Yes. And then the DDP Invitational. Look, there's a dozen names into it. No disrespect to anybody in there. Duncan Mitchell, everybody knows that I'm a huge fan of Duncan Mitchell.
The amount of young talent and the amount of veterans in this is insane. Just the history of some of these guys, just the potential of some of these other guys, all of them super talented.
Yeah. I would think if you're just for the veteran experience that's there, I think you have to think Nick Kalen and Naja, you know, Naja Sism have kind of the leg up on them as far as especially when it comes to experience. They do. I think those are two probably your potential favorites in this invitational. Sleeper pick, I'm a massive fan of Teriyaki. I've watched the kid at he's done AEW Dark stuff. He's done District. He's done some stuff. He's down at the Norcross at the Nightmare Factory. I think he's definitely one you want to keep an eye out, especially down the road. I'm calling the shot of, like, he's your next year, like one of the guys to watch, going forward. So absolutely. And again, I told you, I'm a huge, Duncan Mitchell fan. So I think he's another one that you got to keep an eye out for.
He can get over anywhere.
Yeah.
That kid gets over so hard wherever he goes. Landmark Arena almost rocks when he comes out. Yeah. This show I'm super excited for. I will ask all of the fans what night when you take your vitamins and say your prayers to pray that Myron can get off work on the 16th. Because there's that big show down at the district that I really want to go to. And we can have my early birthday party there. But they haven't let me off work yet, folks. So
hopefully they will. Hopefully they will. So
yes.
But man, look, that's this Friday. I mean, that's the big show. We're going to be there for the big anniversary show. So much more. If you want to know what else is going on in Georgia wrestling, if you are local with us, check out the Rob Rod Report over on his YouTube channel, over on Facebook, the Rob Rod Report. He'll kind of give you the scoop on where all of the shows are, especially here local in Georgia. And if you look, every now and then I post a list somewhere else that if you're a member, you kind of know where. There's a list that I try to put out there of where the shows are nationally, so you can do that as well. But look, that's if you're a member over on our YouTube channel. Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast, or like I said, Tapped Out Podcast Network is now what it's called there on the YouTube channel. Make sure you're liking, subscribing, turn your notifications on. Become a member if you want stuff early and you want all the extra stuff that you don't get on the regular stuff. And if you're just a listener, you're not into the football, the comics, and all that kind of stuff. The old podcast is still where it's always been: Apple Podcast, iHeartMedia, Spotify, Amazon Music, on and on and on. Make sure you're giving us a 5-star rating review. We would greatly appreciate it. It always helps us out, man. Yes. But that's for all you guys. We want to thank you for being loyal listeners for a long, long time. And then, of course, thanks for joining us over on the YouTube channel and getting the new stuff as well. We hope you like that stuff as well. So, well, brother, that's a long, long show.
It's a long show, but here, folks, I want to tell you, go to these indie shows. I don't matter where you are in the country, go to these indie shows. When somebody posts a card, you share it on Facebook or whatever you do on Instagram. I still haven't figured that out. You like it. Share a post. Tell people you went there. Goodwill, folks. Goodwill helps everyone. Not the store. I don't know how many people that actually helps. But build up goodwill and go to indie shows. It's the best dollar value entertainment there is in the world, in my opinion. On a Friday night, you got kids, you want to take them to something cool, they'll talk about it at school, take them to indie wrestling. There's a show somewhere near you, almost anywhere in this country right now. And see the guys that are going to be on WWE and AEW later.
Yeah.
When they're just working it out.
I mean, we saw Austin Theory we saw him local when he was just starting. I mean, it just happens, dude. There's guys that are just local that you're like, oh my God, Matt Riddle. I mean, we saw Matt Riddle in these shows. So yeah, it's a great value. Look, I saw my grandkids this Sunday. By the way, I would be remiss if I didn't say, this show drops on Tuesday. Wednesday, it's the wife's birthday. She's turning 50.
Oh,
she's probably gonna kill me for saying that, but she's turning 50. We celebrated yesterday. Well, we're recording Monday, so Sunday. We went, believe it or not, the kids wanted to surprise her, so they put a lot of effort in. So we had lunch with all of the kids, all 3 of them, and the grandkids. So everybody was there. Oh, and the husbands and the boyfriends, etc.
Wow.
So, and I talked to the grandkids and I said, hey, remember what I told you? If you say you got to have good weeks at school and you got to get good grades, I'll start taking you to some of these local wrestling shows with me and stuff. So I want to get them on board.
So cool.
So absolutely. And I think Sundays, Colbert, UWF is going to be my choice promotion to take them to.
Mm-hmm.
So Colbert, UWF, hopefully they have good weeks and they can come. I'm going to rotate them one at a time. I'm not going to take them both at the same time because Grandpa's old and he doesn't want to try to wrangle 2 of them at once. So
good point.
Yeah. So,
happy birthday, Rachel. Happy birthday.
Anything else for you, man, before we get out of here?
No, man, I love doing the show today. It was a lot of fun. I really, really enjoyed doing the show today. Thank you. Thank you to everybody that's going to listen. Thank you to everybody that watches on YouTube. Makes my heart makes my heart happy when I see all those views. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Well, man. Well, what's the old saying, brother? If I've got nothing and you've got nothing, what time is it?
It's time to tap out.